I think, really is really working with integration and unification. So that's the way I like to think about yoga nowadays: integration, unification of our psychophysical energies. So let's not just think about our yoga as the body, we're working with the mind as well. And which is quite a traditional interpretation of yoga, to unify. The only thing is, it's often spoken about, it's kind of like a higher power, isn't it, in the yoga system? It's like unifying yourself with some ultimate being. But we don't even think about it like that. We can just think about it as a process of gradual integration, psychophysical integration. And, you know, the more I study tantric yoga, the more I see that this stuff has been going on for millennia. These systems of teaching through Buddhism, through Hinduism, been there a long time, and there is a lot of work and research being done now around the kind of psychoenergetics of yoga, and good research, not just kind of backroom stuff. And it's getting more and more interesting that we're kind of discovering things about the yoga tradition and yoga practices that we didn't have access to before around this area. However, you don't need to read reams and reams of research. You can just experience your practice. The main thing is to experience your practice through the breath and be willing to explore. There's no definitive answer to these practices. So the more I practice and the older I get, the more I move away from conclusive answers to things. Like it's open-ended exploration. And we go through different phases, don't we? Sort of being a bit more kind of sure about things and a bit less sure about things as we start to discover new things. So we're going to do a practice around the back today. And if there were more time to chat, I'd like to talk about the relationship between the stupa and the energies of the stupa and yoga practice at some point as well, through the elements, because I think that's an interesting way of approaching our practice in terms of the energetics. More dense, moving towards lighter energy. So there can be a definite felt progress through those different experiences as you practice your yoga. Often start off more dense, and then you find yourself often getting a bit lighter, don't you, as time goes on through the practice. So then, what we'll do is come into the crocodile pose, good old-fashioned crocodile pose, for a couple of minutes. Pretty sure you know how to set that up. Demonstrating here and there. Widening your feet, remember. So I invite you to just rest down in the prone position. Forehead resting on the arms. Head resting, forehead resting on the forearms, one on top of the other. That's the best. Yeah. And as wide as you comfortably can take your feet. And just begin to internalize your awareness so that you come into the body via the breath. Building awareness up around the body and the breath. And be aware particularly of the spine. Okay, so our focus area today will be around the spine. Everything we do is largely related to the spine anyway, but because we're doing back bends, we're going to be especially conscious of how we move. I just encourage you to breathe a bit more deeply here, fluidly, through the nose. We try to let our body and our mind become more attentive, but at the same time a bit more subtle. So really trying to get a sense of the body and the breath and the energy, which could be mental or physical or both, Just a sense of energy, your level of energy, whether your energy feels a bit dense at the moment or whether you feel quite light. You know, do you feel like you've got energy available now? Or is it just sort of flowing a bit more in the terms of a slow river? Okay, and then we're going to bring our feet closer together. We'll keep a space between the feet and bring the hands down by the side of the chest and the ribs, elbows in. Okay, and you're going to place your forehead back down on the floor again with the chin well tucked into towards the sternum, the sort of notch at the top of the sternum. And I want you to think about pressing out through your feet and elongating through the head. So two directions, as it were, of movement, pressing down through the feet and along the legs. Get some engagement through the hands on the floor now. So we have the hands on the floor, the outer edges of the hands, pressing down, palms of the hands lifting in towards the back of the hand. So you're sort of making a cup in the palm to engage Hasta Bandha. And then on the next in-breath, you're going to float the head forward, lift the chest, lift the head, look forwards, pressing down very lightly through the hands. Okay. On the exhale, tucking the chin in again and down, all the way down to the floor. Okay. Like a wave, you pick up the head on the inhale and lift the head and chest again, looking forwards. Just lightly pressing down through the hands and then tuck the chin in again, exhale. Now. Yeah, you get that? So you bring in the chin forwards, sweeping up, looking forwards. Engaging through the legs, keep the legs grounded, exhale. Now. Like a dolphin bobbing up and down in the water. Inhale, lifting up the head, exhale, chin, in, down again. So be aware of where the points of engagement are through the body and the floor, as well as where the spine feels like it's mostly activated in terms of the muscles. I'm going to do this 4 more times, okay? Inhaling, lifting up a little bit higher, using the hands a bit more, tucking the chin in, exhaling, folding down again. Okay. Chin comes forward, head up. Chin comes in, head down. Once again. Exhaling, bring the head down. Bring the forehead down to rest on the floor for a moment. Just take a pause there for a minute. It won't be a minute, it'll be 10 breaths. Okay, and keeping your shoulder blades descending down along the spine downwards, neck long, press down through your hands, come up into the hands and knees. Okay, starting off with the spine parallel and neutral. Right, and then on the next exhalation, you're going to activate Uddiyana Bandha. As you activate Uddiyana Bandha, so this means drawing the diaphragm in and up, fully emptying the lungs and lifting the spine. Okay, chin comes in again to the same place as before, the notch at the top of the sternum. And as you inhale, you release the diaphragm, lowering the belly down, lifting the head and looking forwards. Yeah, so it's important to get the head and neck relationship right with the spine. So Uddiyana Bandha, drawing in, exhaling. Might even be a slight holding of the out breath. Inhaling, reversing. Okay. Exhaling, drawing the diaphragm in. So you are engaging the muscles of the abdominal wall. Inhaling and back. Got that? So that the movement of the diaphragm naturally occurs anyway, in that way, when you lift the spine up or when you bring the spine into flexion in that way. We're just emphasizing it a little bit more. So we're just exaggerating the movement of the diaphragm in and up towards the base of the chest. Okay, so all of this is internal movement. So exhaling, you're making the same curve with the spine, tucking the pelvis under, but you're lifting the diaphragm up as you exhale. So you're really emptying the lungs. Inhaling, coming back again. Okay, let's do that 4 more times. Try and keep the movement smooth and steady. I'm very conscious of the internal sensations of the practice here. One more time. Okay, and as we bring the spine down, we're going to sit the pelvis back towards the heels, keeping the heels and the feet the same distance apart as the pelvis. Keep your gaze forwards, arms extended out in front of you. And then on the inhale, you come forwards, lowering your body down to 8-point pose, and then Bhujangasana. Chin towards the notch of the sternum. And as you inhale, you come back to Bhujangasana again. Lengthening the spine, lengthening the legs. Hold the pose there. That's it. Keep your legs firmly activated and extending back. So you get a sense of using, to some extent, Mula Bandha here as well as Uddiyana Bandha and the Hasta Bandha in the hands. Yeah. Keep the throat relaxed, face open, tongue resting down. Teeth not clenching. Okay, bringing the chin in, lower the head down, press through the hands, and press all the way back again, pelvis towards the heels. Looking forwards on the in-breath, come all the way forwards again. One smooth movement from 8-point pose back to Bhujangasana. I'm going to hold the pose once again. Lengthening through the spine, lengthening through the feet. Watch that slight shift of movement of the shoulder blades, the scapula downwards. It's about the depression of the scapulas. Inwards towards the spine. Okay, chin in towards the notch at the top of the sternum, head down. Press through the hands and sit all the way back again. So you use your arms powerfully as you come back. And just rest back in child pose with the hands extended forwards for a moment. Okay, attention in the hands, broadening the base of the hands, grounding the outside edge of the hands, palms sucking up towards the inner part of the hand a bit more. Okay, bring the toes under. I'm going to lift the pelvis off the floor towards the ceiling, lengthening the legs. Our ears float towards the upper arms. Okay, so as we do that, we might place a bit more weight towards the small finger side of the hand. You can play around with it depends a bit upon the rotation of your shoulders. So it can help sometimes to place more weight towards the outer edge of the hand, but make sure you don't lift the inner edge of the hand so the thumb stays grounded, index finger down. Fingers grounded, palms of the hands lifting slightly. Small finger pressing a bit firmer to the floor. So we're just adding a few refinements into the poses here. And you're extending gently, pelvis extending gently, sides of the waist lengthening, ribs lengthening. Now, okay, from here we're going to turn the right foot in beg your pardon, the left heel in, step your right foot forwards. My camera slightly. And then you're going to take a wide stance one plane. So you've got your feet facing to the short edge of the mat in front of you. I'm going to have to cut my head out of the frame here. One day I'll sort this out and get a proper camera. Okay, so we're on the feet. We've got tram-lined relationship of the feet, more or less. Back foot turned in, front foot turned forwards, pelvis oriented towards the short edge of the mat. Okay, ground your feet down. Think about the outside edge of the feet, mainly in contact with the floor, and think about the arches lifting up into the foot. So the lateral arch between the big toe, small toe, inside arch between the front toe and the heel lifting up. So you're engaging Parabandha through the feet there. Okay, and let that sort of connect through. So feel the connection between that and what happens in the pelvic region. So you start to lift the pelvic diaphragm a little bit, engaging Mula Bandha. Okay. Float the hands forwards and up above your shoulders. One in breath, one smooth movement. Exhale, float the hands down by the side again, simple movement. Okay, do that once again. Next inhale, float the arms forwards, palms looking at each other. On the exhale, we're going to bend the front knee, extending from the back heel. So we keep our awareness in the back heel all the way down. Hands on the floor, chin drawing into the knee. Okay. On the next in-breath, releasing the crown of the head forwards, so lengthening the spine. Exhale, folding into the leg again. In-breath, pressing down through the front foot. So here it's important to just articulate properly the pelvis and the spine, okay? So the movement remains through the spine, keeping the spine long, grounding the back heel, grounding, pushing from the front foot up. Exhale, floating the arms down by the side of the body, okay? Once again, on the in-breath, raise the arms, float the arms forwards. Exhale, bending the front knee. We extend forwards as the knee bends, hands down, looking to the knee, bring the chin all the way in. So you round the spine. Inhale, extending the spine, lifting the crown forwards. Exhale, folding in. Okay, once again, you're going to lift the head, then you're going to press back into your back foot, press down through your front foot, lengthen the spine, hands come forwards and up all the way to standing. Exhale, hands down. Next in breath, your next in breath, float the arms up. And on the out breath, bend your knee. One smooth movement all the way down to the floor. Exhaling into the knee with a chin. Okay, with your next in breath, feel your spine extending and lengthening, looking forward slightly. Exhale, folding in again, looking into the knee. Okay, once again, grounding the body, feeling the connection between the different components of the pose as you're moving through these postures. Okay, where does the emphasis of the weight go? Where does it move from and where does it move to? So pressing down through your front foot, keep your back foot grounded. Inhale, smooth movement up, one breath. Exhale, float the hands down. One more time on this side, floating the arms up above the shoulders. Palms looking in at each other. Exhale, extending forwards and down, grounding the hands. Chin floats in. Inhale, we engage the spine into extension, lifting the head looking forwards. Exhale, fold in. Once again, extending the crown forwards. Exhale, folding in. Okay, catch your next in breath. Bear in mind where you're shifting the weight from and to. One movement coming up. And then we're going to float down again, bending the knee into downward facing dog. So make a transition to downward dog. Just like that. One smooth transition without hesitation. Okay, grounding the hands again. So we'll set up and we'll refine downward facing dog for 10 breaths. So working on refining your pose. Bring attention to the areas that lengthen. Backs of the legs, hips, arms. Feel the engagement with Uddiyana Bandha, so you'll feel a natural drawing up of the thoracic diaphragm here. Just engage that a bit more with the out breath. Keep the face, jaw, teeth, tongue soft, rested in the body. Keep the gaze soft as well, resting the gaze one place on the floor. So we encourage our mindfulness to build up through steadiness in the pose, but also the gaze helps a lot with this. Okay, turn your right heel in. You're going to step your left foot forwards to the front of the mat. Again, setting up tram lines just as you did on the other side. Broaden the feet and ground the feet well, particularly the outer edges. Lifting the arches in. I'm going to come up to standing for a moment. You might have to adjust your stance once you come up to standing. Make yourself a bit longer in the stance or a bit narrower. Okay. But you don't want to be outside of the width of your pelvis, so keep the outer edge of the feet just more or less in line with the outer edge of the hip. Okay. Grounding the feet, lifting the arms. On the next in-breath, float the arms up, one smooth movement. Okay, on the exhale, float the arms down by the side of the body again, but we stand up for a moment. Once again, float the arms. Palms looking into each other. On the out breath, keep your awareness in the back leg, so your back leg, back foot is an anchor. Come all the way down, one smooth movement, chin into the knee. Okay, keep your awareness in the back leg. Inhale, lifting the head, crown forwards, extending. Exhale, fold in. Once again, repeat that. Inhale, lifting the crown forwards. Exhale, fold in. Okay, next in breath, keeping the spine long all the way through this movement from ground to up. Pressing down through the front leg. Exhale, arms down. Okay. Inhale, float the hands up above you, smooth movement. Exhale, keeping the back hip forward moving with you as you come down. Bend your front knee. Release the chin all the way in. Next in breath, lengthen the spine. Keep the back foot grounded. So it's like the movement of lengthening comes from the back outer edge of the foot. Exhale, folding in. Okay. Next in breath, lengthen forwards with the arms. Press down through the front foot. Come up. One smooth movement. Exhale. Once again, through the same sequence. Hands down, smooth as possible in the articulation of one part of the pose to the next, using the breath. Coming up. Floating the hands now. One more cycle, okay? We go for that one more time. Front knee releases, weight goes through to the front foot, but also stay strong in the back leg as you fold forwards. Keep your tension in the back leg throughout. Lengthening the spine and then encouraging the spine to round fully as you bring the chin in. Inhale, lengthening forwards again. Exhale, folding in. Okay, with your next in-breath, we're going to float all the way back up again. One smooth movement. Exhale, releasing the hands down. We'll take our hands up again on the in-breath, and on the out-breath, we come forwards again to downward facing dog. Okay, hands down, step your front foot back. Again, another 10 breaths, both setting up and then just refining the pose. So where you feel the weight dropping down through the body, look for the sense of return of the weight through the limbs from the ground again. So this is the bandhas at play. When you feel the weights dropping down and then it's coming back through the body again, through the joints. And you get this sense of lift. It's not a strenuous lift, it's more of an energetic lift you're looking for. Okay. So you're using the density of the body to explore the lightness of the energy and the movement of the energy through the pose. See if you can lower your heels a little bit more. Maybe now you're a bit more open in the backs of the legs. Does that help you engage the bandhas a bit more or not? Can you keep the face, tongue, teeth, eyes relaxed? All right. Now, if you'd like to bring your knees onto the floor, I'd like you to come down onto the floor again, prone position. It's time we're going to slide the hands down. Okay. Slide the hands down by the sides of the hips, palms on the floor by the side of the hips. Okay. Keeping the elbows close into the sides of the body as well. Okay. And from here, you can either just prop your chin onto the floor, or if you wish, you can put your forehead onto the floor. It depends what's more comfortable for your neck. Okay. And we're going to work with a very abbreviated form of locust. Okay. So locust one leg at a time. So first of all, just find this lengthening again. So really clarify the sense of lengthening out through the legs, out through the crown of the head, through the spine. And then one leg at a time, you're going to raise the leg as high as you can, holding it for a couple of breaths. Lowering it down, okay? So it's lift, not holding the breath. A couple of breaths, lower down. And just alternating like that, one side to the next, okay? So you're stabilizing the trunk and your primary mover becomes the leg. So you're using the buttock muscles, backs of the legs here. But the back will engage quite strongly to stabilize. You can feel that here. Just one more time on each side, a couple of breaths each time. And then rest your legs down for a moment. And if you like to bring your hands up by your forehead, you can come into a sort of crocodile pose again for a moment, just resting the forehead onto the arms. You let the breath normalize for a moment. Noticing how the energy is in your body at this moment, and noticing general state of your mind, sort of mood. Okay, so you're going to slide your hands down now. I'd like you to move your hands down so that you, those bones that stick out at the top of the pelvis, at the front of the pelvis, anterior superior iliac crest, this is called. You're going to place the palms of the hands underneath those bones. So you've got the back of the hands on the floor and the elbows out to the side, okay? Doing another abbreviated form of locust here. All right, so the palms of the hands go under the tops, where the bones are sticking out at the top of the pelvis into the floor. Yeah. I'm explaining that, okay, Ruth? Can you see? Palms of the hands under the bones there, okay? So you're resting your weight back down. And then for this, it's best to place the forehead down on the floor. And then you're just going to lift both legs simultaneously. So you're using the hands as a fulcrum. And you're going to lift both legs simultaneously and hold the pose, okay? So first of all, re-clarify the sense of lengthening through the torso, through the legs, through the crown of the head. And then lifting on an in-breath. So it sets up quite an intense set of sensations around the sacral area, sacrospinal area. Yeah. And we do this 3 times, so just hold it for as long as you can hold it. And then let go, take a pause, and lift again. Okay. Okay, just 3 times. Don't overdo the holding. Okay, shimming. We've done that now 3 times. So what we'll do is we'll extend the arms out to the side now, so like flight training. Yeah, so you want your arms out at the side, at the height of the shoulders, palms down. So we're going to practice Dvipada Adhi Mukha Shalabhasana. Okay, so with this is a full body lift, pivoting on the front of the pelvis. So once again, re-clarify lengthening through the trunk, through the legs, also laterally through the body as well to the fingertips. Okay, so you're moving away from the center, and on an in-breath, you can raise the whole body. You're not holding the breath, okay? So legs together, raising the trunk as well, looking forwards, not overarching the neck. And we'll maintain this for up to 8 breaths. Yeah. And then we will release down and we will place the hands on the floor by the chest. And we'll press ourselves all the way back into the child pose. Okay, from the child pose, we draw forwards again, coming down to the 8-point pose, sliding forwards on the floor, back to Bhujangasana, lifting the heart center and the chest away from the floor. Keep the pelvis grounded, elbows in. Okay, exhale, down, bringing the chin to the notch at the top of the sternum, and then pressing all the way back up and all the way back into child pose again. One smooth movement. Okay, and that movement again, from 8-point pose forwards to Bhujangasana. Elbows drawn in. So keep the line of energy between joints of the elbows, joints of the shoulders. Exhale down and back. We're going to rest again in child pose for 10 breaths. Good. A few more breaths there in Shavasana. Okay, now if you like, if you're not already got your hands extended forwards, extend your hands forwards and come back again to the setup position for Bhujangasana. We're just going to stay here for a moment. We're going to bring the hands around the back. So we're practicing again Dvipada Shalavasana, but this time a different variation. Okay, so with the hands interlocked, shoulders rolling back. So there's a sense of which you're exposing the upper chest more and more. Just come to rest the forehead on the floor for a moment. So you open the back of the neck, so lengthening the nape of the neck towards the base of the cervical vertebra. Okay, and then really encourage, if you can, this sense of lengthening the hands down. So the hands move down towards the coccyx and beyond the coccyx as you lift the head now on the chest and you gaze forwards, okay? Be careful not to lock the breath here, so really use the diaphragm. And we're going to take up to 8 breaths. So here where legs are grounded, here the feet are on the floor, just the upper body lifting. Eight or less than 8, if you can't do 8. Right, and come down and release. These are really good poses for working out the stress of the day. Yeah? Usually post-practice, you get a sense of release whenever you work with anything in the spine in this way. Okay, let's take a pause for a couple of breaths there. Okay, we're going to move into briefly doing our side looking from Bhujangasana. So I'm pretty sure you've practiced this before, most of you. So we're going to bring the feet together for this version. Feet are grounded, feet stay down on the floor, lengthening through the legs. Okay, hands are on the ground and they stay there the whole time. So grounding the hands and using Hasta Bandha to some extent through the hands. Okay, think about lengthening the trunk forwards. on the in-breath on. In-breath, you lift the head and you're going to look out towards the left side. Turning the gaze towards the left, you come back to the center. Exhale, down. Okay. And then as you inhale again, use the in-breath to draw the body up, looking out towards the right. Exhale and down. All right, so it's a sense of which you're lengthening the whole time. The emphasis is on lengthening. And then lateral movement. Lowering down. You'll overextend the movement because you'll have to overextend the breath. So keep it fairly swift. Okay, rest the head towards the floor just for a moment. Catch your next in-breath. You're going to press back up again onto all fours, from all fours to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, we're going to bring our right knee forwards between the hands, turning the foot out to the left. So coming into the setup for pigeon pose. So I habitually tend to move my back leg back a bit more in this pose before I sort of try to do anything else. I move the back leg back just to help ground the thigh a bit more towards the floor. Okay. Placing the hands down, broadening through the base of the hands. Find a supported position that you can stay in now as you lift the heart center. So we bring the hands a bit further back in the more classical pose, so that you've got a sense of the heart center coming forwards. That's like the breast of the pigeon. Gazing forwards, shoulders back. And seeing if on the in-breath you can bring a bit more length through the spine. And on the out-breath, you drop down through the pelvis and the leg. So the in-breath, don't forget the in-breath has this movement in it. It's integral to the in-breath. It's a lengthening breath. It's an upward moving, energizing breath. And the out-breath is a resting breath. It's a pause and a dropping down. Okay, so we're going to bring, so we've got the right knee forwards. We're going to bring the right hand inside towards the shin. So bring the hand inside the other side of the leg on the floor, so that we can then use that hand as a support to rotate. So we're going to make a rotation through the spine. Okay, be careful not to overturn the neck here, because it's really easy to, in order to try and get some kind of vision point, to turn the neck more than you need to. So rotate the spine gently, okay, and catch hold of the back of the thigh with the hand if you can. Okay, so this hand, left hand, goes back towards the back of the left thigh. And then I use that just as a way of encouraging my chest to open. Left shoulder rolls back. Okay, and you rest the gaze wherever you can rest the gaze. Don't be over tempted to turn the neck too much here. All right, looking forwards, place the hands forwards. And now we're going to come into, this is an optional position if you want now. You can come down flat on the floor. So you come more to the horizontal plane, resting the forehead down on the arms if you wish, or straight onto the floor if you want. So get a feeling for what happens within the hips as you change position. Where does the weight go? What does it feel like internally in terms of the hip, the right side? Is there any resistance to being in this position to this extent in the posture? Three more breaths. Okay, placing your hands down by the side of your chest. Press yourself up. One smooth movement, sweep back into downward dog. I'd like you to repeat the sequence on the other side, okay? Go through those different points of the practice. Just by yourself. So bringing the opposite knee forwards. Starting off with a more sort of classical version. So I'll just be doing it in case you're not sure where you're going. So just explore joints, any sticking points you feel in the joints, any tensions, any resistance, which is more mental going into the pose. Do we stop breathing when something gets uncomfortable? Okay. I'm going to shift the left hand over to the other side, now more towards the shin. And then I'm going to rotate to the right side, taking the right hand towards the back of the thigh. So it's quite demanding on the thoracic spine. Okay, so you really want to make sure you're getting a sense of here the dynamic of lifting through the spine on the in-breath before you rotate. Be cautious of your lumbar spine. If you're really going too deeply into the lumbar, just shift the front hand forwards to decrease the intensity a little bit. And when you're ready, come into the third position. So we're going to come down into the more horizontal plane, classical version. Aware of the hip joints. Okay, you're going to sweep back now carefully into downward facing dog. When we come into downward facing dog, we'll walk the dog a little bit, so to speak. Yeah, bending the knees alternately. Okay, so we're going to practice a couple more poses now before we start to do a more closing down sequence. So from here, we're going to shift forwards, bringing both knees down to the floor. I'm going to sit between the knees. Sit between the heels, rather. Take the calf muscles out of the way, sit back into Virasana. Grounding the feet. Okay, so we're going to practice the camel. There are different variations of the camel pose, so you can practice a lighter version in terms of the back bend aspect. You can bring the hands, the fingertips to the heels, or you can bring the hands flat down onto the soles of the feet. Okay. Tend to advocate coming into the pose in a balanced way so that both hands come down at the same time. I know some people go left and right, but my way of practicing this and teaching this over the years has been a balanced entry and a balanced exit. Okay. Just before we do that, we'll do the setup part of the pose. So we're going to ground the shins and press the feet to the floor on the inhale. So you're using the strength of the thigh muscles to bring your body up. Yeah, so you're engaging the thighs, arching the upper back, moving the shoulders backwards. One smooth movement. So the shoulders are sort of floating out of the shoulder joints, sockets. Okay, we come back down again for a moment. Exhale. We'll do that again. So pressing and grounding the shins and the feet. Use the thigh muscles to press you up. So really get a sense of engaging the thighs. Arching the upper back. Okay. The shins grounded. Feet grounded. So the shins and the feet are your base of the pose where you lift out. Exhale, come down again. Yeah, I don't know about you, but you might want to use a blanket or something underneath your knees. Maybe it's a, should have said that at the start. Sorry about that. Or fold your mat over, because it depends what's going on with the top of your tibia and the fibula. Sometimes they stick into the floor and it's a bit uncomfortable. So this time we're going to make one smooth movement up and then back. Okay, we're going to come up, keeping the pelvis brought forwards, thighs really firmly engaged. So now think about the activity of the bandhas, especially the base bandha. Okay, Mula bandha, Uddiyana bandha, drawing in and drawing up. So you support yourself internally and you draw the hands back. So you can draw the body back a bit if you need to. Fingertips onto the heels, or the palms of the hands down onto the soles of the feet. Okay. Once you're there, draw powerfully the pelvis forwards, thighs forwards. Okay. Keep on lengthening the spine all the way through. Rounding and lengthening. Okay, press forwards. Pelvis comes in, so you close the groins. Tower bone comes back to the heels first, and then we sit back again. Okay, I'll say a bit more about that when you're out here doing the training, about how to clarify the entrance and the exit of that pose is quite important. All right, good. Yeah, that's it for now. Not going to do any more of that for today. So I'm going to come and sit down with your legs in. So we'll take box pose a bit. So have the right leg in front of the left leg. So gathering your knees in towards the center midline. The center midline of the trunk, knees coming closer towards each other. Okay. And then I always just draw the buttocks out, because that way my pelvis doesn't do this thing of encouraging a rolling back in the spine. Okay, so just a still point for 10 breaths, seated. We're aware of the area between the sit bones. So we're aware of the pelvic diaphragm, relaxing that because we don't need to use the bandhas so much now. Don't want to be walking around with the bandhas engaged all day. So when you've done your practice, the good work of the bandhas and the activation of energy has been done. Resting the hands on the knees. Spine growing upwards ever so gently towards the top of the head. And as we grow up towards the top of the head, the face laterally just relaxes through the eyebrows, forehead, tongue resting on the base of the mouth. So we're going to gently twist towards the left side, then towards the right side out of this base position. Okay. So moving towards the left side. And you can place your hands wherever you want to support yourself in the pose. Okay. Let the head be the last thing to turn. So we turn the head back, but let that be the last thing coming into the posture. And then we move to the other side. One smooth movement. Very easy, very light. And back to the center, to the position we started in, hands resting on the knees for a moment. Just aware of the space between the hip bones on the floor. And bring the right hand out to the right side, sliding across the floor. Left arm sweeps up, keeping both sides of the pelvis grounded. Okay. We move towards the right, keeping the spine aligned, centered. So we can encourage an arching, a lateral arch in the spine without having to lower the body down further as such. Okay, just by simply bringing the arm further over. Breathing in, breathing out. You're conscious of your breath here, conscious of relaxing the diaphragmatic breath more. So it becomes a softer movement and a quieter inner experience. Right to the other side. Okay. And we smoothly move that up again. Now I'd like to encourage you to take a roll of some kind, blanket or yoga mat, and you're going to recline over the roll, something you would have done surely quite a few times before. All right. Even a half yoga mat is fine. It doesn't have to be a huge, great big thing. But the positioning is important. So you really want that line to be at the bottom of your shoulder blades. Okay. So the southern tip of your shoulder blades is level with the bottom line of the whatever you rolled over. And you can choose to have your legs extended out or your knees bent, really up to you how you do that. Whichever feels best for the lower back, okay? So you just want to make sure that as you lie back, the telling point is to feel that elevation in the chest as you roll back. You get that little lift in the sternum. Yeah. And you don't feel a compression in the lumbar spine. So yielding in the last part of the practice. After this, we'll come into a short period of meditation. It's yielding. So now we can start to reduce a little bit and simplify our mental activity by becoming aware of sensations in the body. So they appear and disappear, which they do all the time. And we notice that these sensations in the body are not just of the body, but they're also colored by our mood, our immediate state of mind. So there'll be reflections in our sense of pleasant or unpleasant from our mind. What's gone before in the day, what's coming up in terms of our mental processes. And we're just going to try and stay with the area of feeling. So it's an open and relaxed field of awareness now, where we're not trying to focus ourselves on one thing. Another 5 breaths, and then like it to roll onto one side or the other. And then come into a sitting posture that's comfortable, okay, whatever that might be. So I'll finish the session as I usually do, just by fading out, turning off the Zoom again. You can obviously just carry on sitting. It's the way we tend to do this class. So say goodbye to everybody now. And well, Ruth and Brendan, see you in a couple of days. Look forward to actually seeing you as real life human beings in the flesh. And we'll have fun, I'm sure. Just a period of open practice, whichever practice you think is most needed, most suitable. Let you take up your practice, okay? Stop recording.